for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How has your weekend been? How was your last week? What's on your mind this morning?
Well, let me take the opportunity and welcome everybody to September. I think it's a month of love. From the health domain, I think it's a sickle cell awareness month. Beyond that, the weekend was a bit eventful, let me use that word, because of tragic loss of lives within the Sotom enclave. And it's a very unfortunate incident. I'm deeply troubled, and I want to express my condolence to the families who have been involved in all of this. More importantly, the chief of Sotom, whose brother's son has been killed. So that has been my weekend. Homowo is supposed to be celebratory, not mad with death and gunshots. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have, I'd say that you have superintended that constituency for a while. You may have seen a lot of homowars over the years. Does this really come to you as a surprise? What's usually the cultural temperature of that area?
We've had uneventful homowars, except for the fact that I think that some of the guidelines were missed in terms of territory and police order for the day. It should have been that any pokwe sprinkling should have been just on your compound, so as to avoid going into an area where somebody may feel that you're entering into his domain. But this has to be looked at carefully. And I think, I mean, people might say I'm politicizing this, but our security in this country needs another beef up. I think we've fallen by the indices that have been published, and these are some of the incidents that trigger the indices to drop us much lower. So I think we need to be very mindful. As a nation, if our insurance was, being paid for loss of lives lost, this would have definitely increased our insurance bill. And I don't know. We certainly need to address it, and it should be early so as to not have repercussions. These things, when they do happen in a community, if you're not careful, additional lives may be lost because of retaliation. Retaliation. So I'm very concerned.
Does it bring to the fore the conversation around chieftaincy disputes and all of that? Would it be surprising to know that it may have stemmed from something, at least, a variant of such?
No, it is. I mean, it's not that you are making an assumption. It is chieftaincy. It is territory. And unfortunately, it so happens that in Greater Accra, many of the chiefs tend to have very rowdy boys who follow them. And sometimes the actions of those boys or, men are not acceptable in terms of, shall I say, land guardism and the fallouts and the numerous drugs some of them use in the thick of celebration. So it is a major issue, to the extent that sometimes people even have to engage the military to protect their own lands. I mean, which is so unacceptable. We need to get to a point where the rules of the land must be applied. And I think the state doesn't own lands in this country. I mean, literally, it's all in the hands of the chiefs. And that is, I think, part of our problem. If it was state-owned and things are done in accuracy and appropriateness, some of these unnecessary turf wars and disputes and killings will not happen.
So you side with people who are proposing that government should take over lands and rather manage it than it being in the hands of families and chiefs?
If an appropriate arrangement is made and royalties are paid to the appropriate quarters in terms of the royal families, I think it might be the best approach, in the sense that it will reduce, one, more importantly, the double sale of lands. in this country, where, sometimes the cousin sells and then the brother also sells. I mean, that is sometimes the most ridiculous things. And what is even more crazy is that one family may sell for a decade, and then it moves to another family, and instead of the other family stopping after a decade, they still continue. And these are some of the rifts that innocent land buyers go through. Personally, we've had to buy 3 or 4 times the same land in Accra. I mean, that is a very common experience. If you really want the land, you end up paying about 3 people for the same land. Sometimes you even pay the person who also bought from the family just to, avail yourself or have peace of mind, because he feels that he rightly bought it. You also think that you rightly bought it. And truly, you both pay the same person for the same piece of land.
Between that and government ownership or government managing our lands, if government did manage our lands, do you think that a lot of people would be able to purchase lands? Would it be just centered at the upper class level, especially state officials or people in government? The proximity to owning a land in the country, if government was managing it, just top of my mind.
I mean, I think that, for instance, in the eastern region, we could do what we call a pilot program and try it out. And what I believe in, unfortunately, is that the demarcations will be much better, and you cannot go and buy government land and buy land in a street. That will be very serious, and it's a serious indictment on government. And for me, for that reason, if government was, allocating land and certainly making sure that the remunerations that are supposed to go to the chiefs happen, I'll be much obliged. Or somebody can put a program into the chiefs and then, run it either at Brie or somewhere. And when it works, you can then replicate it. These days, these guys who buy in acres and resell, even that, sometimes the chiefs will come back at the homeowners and say that, hey, you need to pay some royalty. So those those are some of the unfortunate bits. If you check with those who have bought from real estate developers, unfortunately, our chiefs, when they are a little in need of finances, will come knocking on your door again and make all kinds of allegations that they are the rightful owner and the developer bought it from their cousin and all kinds of things. So land issues in Ghana, I mean, we may have to learn from the Brits. The Queen, yes, the whole land is for the Queen, but it's not the Queen that sells it. It's the government that bequeaths or as it is, leases the lands out.
I think we can learn in country. The Ashantis have a better system. We don't hear a lot of these things from them, not so.
No, they are also learning, trust me. To the extent that, unfortunately, I remember dealing with some cases in Joso with regards to CSIR properties that people are clamoring for.
Okay.
And as it is, this is earmarked for government use, and some chiefs are selling it. Even Asante Hine was complaining about University of this thing and Kwame Nkrumah University.
I thought they were blameless.
And making a strong case that as for that land, it is for him and nobody. So if it's not an issue, the whole Asanteman, the chief or the king, His Majesty, cannot be saying publicly that if you dare touch my land.
I guess is where the challenge, customary law and our laws, and where it emerges. But okay, so in front of our newspapers, but are you getting ready for tomorrow in Akwete? It's just a few hours.
Yeah.
What is it looking like for you?
Well, on a very personal note, I want to put this on record that I think that too many lawyers are depriving their clients of their own land. And actually, some of these practices are very unacceptable. And I say this with the greatest respect to the legal practice. I think that this lawyer who was representing the former member of parliament of Acheampong, the NDC former member of parliament, and then subsequently went into primaries with him. I think that is a travesty, and that is unethical. That is my thinking, and I think that there's a conflict of interest issue there for somebody with privileged knowledge from his client, and making a case in court that his client won the elections, and making all kinds of arguments that his client, then the former member of parliament, won. And for him to, within the space, and mind you, it's been just 8 months this year. So within the space of almost 6 months of handling your client, you then decide that for some strange reason, he wasn't the rightful person to represent the people. I mean, that is what it is. And I find it troubling. And I think that by this behavior and character and action, he will not be a good representative of the entire Acheampong people. That is my feeling about this. This is not NPP, this is not NDC. I think that the legal, is it council or bar, should look at this. And certainly, as an ordinary citizen, I want them to comment on this, because I feel that many lawyers are using their privileged office to deny their clients of things that are due them. And I'm citing the likes of land and the likes of property. And this goes within the, things of conflict of interest. Should you come and deal with my divorce case, I'm sure you end up taking my wife.
Would it be strange, because then you're divorcing the wife, are you not?
Well,
you're not interested in
divorce is a process where you can even have mediation and reconciliation and possible remarriage.
Would it be okay if it ended and the divorce was granted? The divorce petition was granted.
It's even wrong to marry your client's wife. Really, I think.
Ex-wife?
Well, okay, ex-wife. The optics are not good.
Okay, same analogy. If a lawyer represented a suspect, a murderer, right, and you know that this murderer is guilty of it, but they need to have a lawyer. If they did, by this analogy, would you say that the lawyers are representing these suspects because they believe? Can you import the same analogy? Because then...
No, this is... My point is that you represented a former member of parliament making a strong case that he won the election. And within the space of the same 6 months, you contest him. I think... You know what? He could have contested 4 years from now. I will have a problem.
It won't be okay. It will be okay if
yes,
there was some
4 years. I mean, listen, conflict of interest has to do with the timing and the optics, and I think that nothing, people are telling me that nothing stops him. It's not everything that is unethical that is documented. The optics are bad. And for me, listen carefully. You were representing one individual. You broke or you breached the trust. Now you intend to represent the entire Acheampong. Come on, I mean, I think that is wrong.
Aren't these two different things?
Well,
you represented an individual.
When you did to the individual person, you multiply it, quadruple, or even if there's a word a triple.
What is there for him to deceive his people on? If he's represented them in parliament.
You are now going to be the people's representative. Mm-hmm. When you were just the one-person representative, within a short time, you took away what he was begging you to represent him for. So what it means is that all the goodies that you are going to beg on behalf of the people of Acheampong, it will end up in your garage. Oh. That is how I'm seeing it. And forgive me, I'm being very almost apolitical here. This is being objective, not being colored by NPP and NDC. I think Ghanaians should look. I'm weeping for the former NDC MP, not even my own MP, but the former NDC MP who trusted this lawyer with privileged information to handle his case. And within the space of 6 months, the same guy is saying that, you know what, I want your position.
I can do better than you.
I'll do better than you, and
But this is politics, not so.
It's not being a lawyer
Optics.
every day, is, is
Optics.
But politics in itself, generally, politics.
Is backstabbing?
Do you carry optics in politics anyway?
Oh, listen.
If we did this, we wouldn't hear politicians make promises on the same platform and show up the next time again as if they're not the ones that made these promises.
No.
Because I think the architecture of politics in itself, this shouldn't be surprising.
From a very professional standpoint, when I entrust my life into a doctor for surgery, I'm putting my life in his hand. And in this case, this client was putting his heart, his chocho-mucho things in the bosom of the lawyer. So when I'm giving you my heart and you just stab it, that is very unacceptable. So, I mean, that is how I feel about this. And there are many Ghanaians whose lawyers have deprived them of things that they were trying to fight for, especially land and property.
You have personal experience?
Oh, I have some that I can share whenever you're ready. And some have had depression and died after these. And I think that the trust that the client held for this lawyer is broken. And for that reason, he should not be awarded to represent the good people of Acheampong. Those are my thoughts. And I would have hoped that many legal minds would write about this. Or let me posit the question, do they think it is right?
But do you see how this is difficult? I didn't think we were going to stay on this for a while, but do you see how this will be very difficult for lawyers to actually want to speak about? Because then you find lawyers represents the exact thing that in their normal life they said no to, but in court are making a case for. And it's just the nature of our laws. Otherwise, lawyers will never buy shirts. Lawyers will never eat anything. If you look at the law profession and the way it is, it's not their passing. They really work with the laws.
No, I like defense lawyers of all categories. But my point is that the defense lawyer, like, if you are defending me, it doesn't give you the professional ethics to then become involved in my family matters.
Okay.
That is my
beyond
whole
that,
point.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
What does it look for? What does it look like for the NPP?
Well, my biggest thing from the NPP is that we want it to be a very fair playing grounds. And once it's fair and we win, fantastic. Once it's fair and we lose, still fantastic. The key point here is that we want this by-election to be very professional. We want it to be based on very key principles. And we think that the NPP has done well by the people of Acheampong from times that they've allowed us to. And more importantly, it's a very sad happening. And we feel that in the interest of Acheampong and the family of the late Ernest Kumi, it will be most appropriate that the Acheampong people allow us. After all, it's been going swinging. So this 4 years, you know, they just should still give it to us this 4 years.
But when the people are aware now that the NDC is the one forming government, and what they need is development.
Correct.
And they know how a minority MP will struggle to bring in development. Is not will.
Yeah.
May struggle. You think the chances are bright for them to hand over to the opposition MPP in this by-election?
I think that it gives the NDC some leverage, but the two characters involved also matter.
Okay.
We have a local person who is into business locally, lives there, does everything in the community, as opposed to someone who spends a good amount of time outside of the constituency. Okay. You know, case in point, the lawyer who lives in Accra. So sometimes in the local politicking, the people will feel that the homeboy is much better. You understand? And they would love to have the homeboy instead of the person who's from outside. And in that case, I think that our candidate has a more stronger, better chance.
Because he lives with the people.
When you are in power, you tend to have more lucre. And because of lucre, you tend to be able to do more for the people during the by-elections. So instead of maybe 10 cutlasses going around, they might take 20 cutlasses to share, which, whether you like it or not, incentivizes the farmers in the place, and for that reason, once you are bringing on board some solutions, they might do it for you. But you have a very strong point. Once people are aware that the NDC is in power, they tend to want to go with the party in power. But the only dicey thing is that the character of the people involved matter. And this one, maybe local politics might play a major role. Like I said, North, we were in power,
but
the opposition won because the character of the ex-Canadian or former Canadian meant a lot for the local people. In this case, a lawyer who is representing one person and then decides that, no, the goodies that the person is going for, he rather wants it. That kind of character, I have a problem with it. I have a problem because if he wants to be the people's representative, then what he did to the one-person representation, very unacceptable.
Well, we're joined by David Vondi, MP, Chefo Acheampong as well. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Vondi.
Thank you. How are you?
Dog.
How are you? What's in there? Good. Yeah. Yeah, I feel.
How's your weekend been?
God is good. We're fine. I mean, it's been funerals, it's been going around, family meetings here and there, but it's all good. I mean, that's what it is, man.
What in the news has your attention? And what's it looking like for the Akwete by-election for you tomorrow? But what else in the news has your attention?
Well, first of all, good morning to my brother. I mean, he's a nice person. We've been in Parliament together, and Akwete is an election that's not going to change how Parliament looks like anyway. So it's an election that it's for the people of Akwete, not for any political gain, actually, because it's not going to change the number of seats the meaning of seats that we have. None that is going to change anything that the NPP, have in Parliament now. So for me, it's an election to determine how you get, developments to your area. So it's an election to determine whether you want to go for who is having the goodies and be able to approach, ministers and the president himself, or you want to go for somebody who directly is going to be a loggerheads and the opposite side of government who is actually controlling the resources. So these are the determinations that the Akwete people would want to make, but I believe strongly they want to go with the one who's having a goodie.
Okay.
That's all about it.
Beyond the truth and the obvious in Parliament, you don't think that this is a scorecard or a score sheet for the government?
No,
it won't be the people marking what the government, because you're in government, so who wins will really mean a measure to the work of the current government.
I mean, that determination, if you like, that concern, will play some role, but not that much. Because the point is that if we want to use that measure, then the NPP was not going to get even 10%. Because the government is doing so well, and I'm sure that everybody knows the government is doing so well. Pick all the indications, and Doc, you agree with me that you're looking fresh today because of what the government is doing. And so if we want to use that measure, that yardstick, then the NPP should not get anything less than more than 10%. But the point is, yes, I mean, that's going to play a role, looking at what the government is doing and looking at the economic situations now, the dollar relation and to the city. You want to look at the fuel prices, you want to look at
which is about
prices,
increasing.
You want to look at all the indicators. You would say that then, hey, let's go for the government that is doing so well.
Would you be surprised, as
the point is,
would you be surprised if the NPP wins? Would you be?
I don't see anything happening like that because...
No. Will you be surprised?
Would you be surprised?
I will.
Okay.
I will, because you see, in Ghanaian politics, okay, sympathy votes really do not work. You remember when His Excellency Professor Mills died? Mm-hmm. When we had to go for elections and we actually wanted to capitalize on that so much as the NDC. Mm-hmm. Remember what votes Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo pulled?
In that election?
If sympathy works, Nana Addo shouldn't be getting anything like 49%. So sympathies really do not work in our elections. Elections are more of NDC, NPP, whose party is winning, whose party is not winning. I mean, but my condolence to Ernest and his family. I mean, he's a very good friend of mine, and we were in the same committee, and, you know, he's a very nice person. But the point is he was a very nice person. But this election, it's about how Akotia is going to look like after the election. So he's representing them, who is actually going to be articulating their view in Parliament, who is able to, you know, speak properly for them in Parliament.
But you just said that in Parliament, it won't matter.
So for the point is...
In Parliament, it won't matter. So who cares if they can raise the highest and the finest of debates?
Yes, it's very important.
It's just NDC and people.
No, it's very important.
And particularly this constituency is a swing one. It's such an interesting swing constituency so much that...
And you don't want to have anybody sitting in Parliament who is not able to even express himself and they call that person your MP. You don't want to do that.
But both of them,
again,
the front runners are...
Well, fine, I'm not going there, but we can look at them. You're having a lawmaker who is coming to Parliament to represent you to make laws. This is a gentleman who is related to His Excellency Mahama, who is having the goodies. You don't want to go and choose somebody who is going to be at loggerhead with the party. The powers.
So are we saying...
You don't want to do that.
So are we saying that if you are not related to the guy in power, you cannot represent...
The dynamics are different, and I'll explain to you.
Okay.
The general elections, nobody knew who was going to win. We're all hoping to win. So those that might have won the NPP elections and 87 members of parliament, these are people who won elections because it was a general election. Now the elections are over. Now we know where the power is. So you don't want to go and hurt the power. You don't want to go and be the one. So otherwise, you're going to be seen as somebody who, I mean, you don't want to do that. So the point is, the Akotia people will go for the ones who is having the power. That's all about it. You know, the Jechikwesin issue was a very different issue.
Why so?
I was on the ground to campaign for Jechikwesin because it was an issue where we thought that at the time, taking Jechikwesin out of Parliament was just unnecessary, was unlawful, and so forth and so on. So what went on by-election, we explained the matters to the people and they understood it. I mean, it was a hung Parliament. We got to do everything we have to do to ensure that we have that hung Parliament moving, because then it was working for us. But this time around, what's he going to gain? What are you going to lose? You only have to look at development, who is having the goodies, who will give us some, who will pay attention to us, and you don't want to fall in that trap.
My biggest thing, though, I mean, what he's saying makes sense. However, the character involved is where I have a
dog. However,
the character representing the people is where the issue is. It doesn't mean that anybody without morals should necessarily be allowed to represent people by virtue of the fact that they are with the party in government. So I'm of a very different opinion, and I think that representation is not necessarily only about what comes to you, because let me state on record that all the constituencies in this country agreed for the loan to work on the Amasaman in Sawam Road. It is not by virtue of just a member of parliament for Amasaman.
I agree.
So I think that it is not just about Akotia, but we need somebody who can contribute to the entire workings of government. And for that reason, I think that it's not always just about your constituency. I tell people that, listen, when given the chance, the things I do are not just for Anyasotum, it's for the entire country.
Exactly.
And that also matters.
Do you have any concern, especially, let's situate it well.
Yes.
Before he came, he shared a very, very potent argument that, listen, don't trust a man who was lawyering somebody and then decided to want to I mean, take what,
Go for
yeah.
a seat.
Ordinarily, I am of a personal opinion, if you like, that was a little odd.
Okay.
You get my point? But that was my view, and it still remains my view. The people of Acheampong decided to go for whom they want, and that's the choice they've made. The process of selecting who is our parliamentary candidate in these by-elections was more of a very open, elections. Everybody came in there to vote. Delegates were given the opportunity to elect whom they want as Constitution, require, and it was done. I may sit somewhere and think that because Henry was my friend and is still my friend, and that he should be given the nod. But I have no power in voting. I have no, voting rights to vote there. The Acheampong people knew, and they know what is good for them. So what are we talking about here? Morally, you want to talk about somebody who was a lawyer?
I don't seem to cut you, but this is not the Acheampong people.
I mean, this is...
We're here to get the delegate. Delegate are quite
the point
different,
is...
But if he wins, are you not concerned
The point
about...
is-
If he wins,
Yes.
are you not concerned about such a person being part of the government's framework?
No, the point is...
Would you have trust for him?
Yes, I mean...
You will trust him?
Yeah, you will, because the Constitution allows him to do what he did. And so why would you want to worry? Point is that, I mean, my seat, for example, there are a lot of people in my party that won my seat. So they will contest me during primaries.
But that's not odd.
It doesn't
Would
matter
it be
whether...
odd?
It
Would it
doesn't...
be odd?
No.
If people in your party wanted to contest
It's
your
not.
seat, it's not.
It's
but if
not.
your lawyer, who was, fighting for...
Again, like I said, personally, that's the concern anybody may have.
Okay.
But the fact that you have that concern doesn't mean that constitutionally...
It's elections, it's
I
politics.
mean, these are politics and so forth and so on. I tell you what, I remember when the delegate, some people from the NPP went to see Adomako Kissi, and told him that they were not going to contest the Tamale Central, seat. He told them, well, thank you, but we are coming to Acheampong because Constitution allows us to come. If you decide not to come, that's your own choice. I mean, if the gentleman felt that he was a lawyer for whoever and then he feels that he want to contest and the Constitution allows
Not whoever.
Constitution allow him to contest. Again, I don't think that there is anything wrong about it. You can talk about your moral, your feeling about it and all that. Yes, I mean, you can talk about it. I can talk about it too. But the point is it wrong constitutionally?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Right.
So for me, I think that we should move on.
A few stories on the Daily
people
Guide.
should choose whoever they want to choose. And I believe they'll go for the NDC, gentlemen.
You do?
That's all I mean.
Okay, it's just a few hours. We'll know shortly. By the end of tomorrow, we'll know.
Absolutely.
But your Daily Guide this morning says that who leads NPP? The race for flag bearer begins, and the photos of the 5 people who have filed their nomination by end of last week boldly in front of the Daily Guide. Another story that may interest you is Oti region records 22,000 typhoid cases. Stories on page 11 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And as well, Chief's son, 3 others killed, several injured. Sotum Homowo shooting, and Dog has been speaking about this as well. The Daily Guide as well is reporting Binyiri conflicts that rises to 18. Not a good one. Okay. Which one do you want to talk about? You want to talk about what?
The NPP thing.
Why? Hang on. Take a minute. Breathe in. I'll go to Dog. I'll go to Dog.
I think he should borrow from Atta Mills. Do fiasco.
Well, I don't know what I was going to say.
So let me first of all commend all 5 gallant men who have put in to lead the party. I think it helps us narrow down on the path that the party has to take in the next foreseeable decade, and these are bold men. I personally side with Dr. Bryan Acheampong, so I need to disclose that, and I have my reasons. My reasons being that the party is at a point where we need to become more attractive to the youth, and I think that Dr. Bryan Acheampong has that knack to be able to bring all of us together and make the party more attractive to the youth by way of his messaging on the need to create jobs, the need to improve on Ghana's infrastructure. And you know, he has a track record, and that makes it more easier in terms of his own businesses and the fact that his businesses have generated revenue and the fact that he has tangible things that people can actually see and feel. And for that matter, he's an embodiment of the two stalwarts that we had in the last contest. I mean, his academics are good, with PhD in information systems, law degree, 4 masters. I mean, fantastic. So his academics are good. And then his business side too is very good in terms of into IT, Rock City Hotel, and even surprisingly, he's building a large airport, bigger than Terminal 3.
Hey.
You know, which, yes,
where?
Inco, yes.
Airport?
Yes.
All by himself?
Yes.
Wow.
Bigger than Terminal 3. In fact, the runway is the biggest in the world now, as we have it.
Why?
Based on the length.
Has the runway been done already?
It's been done and not tarred, but done. You know, so the stretch is a bit above 5 kilometers. I think the highest in the world is 5.1. I think he's done 5.3 or so. So
Curious about how an individual is able to undertake a project that's bigger than what a government can do.
Well, his current platform is what all the banks in this country use. So let me say that in very simple terms, he's almost like an investment banker. I mean, that is what I can almost say. And that is his side that people are not aware of. Every bank in this country runs off his software, and the insurance companies as well. So he's a finance person, and more importantly, if you talk of digital improvement and innovation in finance, that is Dr. Bryan Acheampong. So I think that even looking at our campaign last election, which was largely on the digital economy, that is his strength, in addition to securities and intelligence, which he's getting a second PhD for that. You know, so I think that his academics are good, his business acumen too is solid, and he's an embodiment of the two. And we think that also in politics, when your cobwebs are fewer, it improves your chances. And we think that he's a strategic candidate for us if we really wish to win 2028.
How is it looking?
Well, for a new entrant in the game, and let me state that our real campaign starts from Tuesday because our party secretary stopped us from campaigning. So we really will start venturing into the various 276 constituencies after the Akwita elections. And I think the truest picture will come out after we've engaged 276 constituencies. So I think it will be premature for me, but I must admit, I wanted to celebrate huge milestones that we've achieved within the past 120 days, just when he started. Now he's being talked about in many homes, and I think that...
Is it for the right reason? Or some of the comments?
Oh, I mean, listen, I think that they are all for the right reasons. In politics, trust me, when you get talked about, it means that you're doing something. If you're not doing anything, people won't talk about you. So once you become a very serious contender, you get talked about. And to clear some of the issues, one that you just raised, which was the commentary. I think that, first of all, the NPP party needs to confront the Boko conflict head-on. It's very important as a party. In the history of our party, the likes of Adubuahe, the likes of Kufuor, have never had any belonging to one side when it comes to the Boko conflict. And this is the only time that we have a candidate who has an affiliation to one side. And I think that Dr. Bryan Acheampong was being very clear to the party that though there were issues in our election related to the party and our governance, the candidature also needs to be looked at.
No, but you've seen that the other side have also brought out statistics to sort of water down on the impact of that.
No, we are saying that there are multiple, issues.
Yeah, I'm talking about
one.
Yeah, I'm talking about. You've mentioned here that in that particular conflict, your candidate belongs to one side, not so. That's what you said.
That is the fact.
Now the data,
is it a fact?
Yeah. The data they brought out indicate that the other side voted 30. He got 38% also percent of the vote.
We
from
could
the other
have
side.
gotten 60% votes.
What's wrong with that fact?
Yeah. So that is why we're wondering why, if Dr. Bryan Acheampong has stated that there are numerous things that affected our wins, and we have a 2 million plus deficit. So to clear that 2 million plus deficit, we need to look at all the issues that may make it very difficult for us to achieve beyond 2-point-something million so that we can win 2028. And this is why there was an uproar. And let me also be very clear here. Listen, if you listen carefully, there's a portion where he says that even holding religion constant, supposing we presented a candidate with no affiliation to any of the two parties in the conflict, our chances would have been better. So when you go out and say that he's being religiously, insensitive, then it begs the question, you may have not understood clearly what he was saying. I hope you get where I'm coming from.
I do, but if I want to import the same analogy, you recall that this conflict did not just border around Boko. I mean, some weeks ago, we recorded some incidents in Ashanti region as well.
It goes all the way to Western North.
Absolutely.
Afram Plains.
And so if the people who were saying factually the vice president belongs to decides to also want to target, and forgive me, an ethnic group that Bryan as well belongs to?
No, we as it stands, I don't think there's any conflict.
No, because
I hope you get where I'm coming from.
I do.
And we have to admit on air, listen, I'm not being difficult here. We have to admit one key thing. Once you know this, that the NPP party is neutral with regards to Boko, is very important and will remain neutral. However, we cannot discount the fact that we have one candidate who seeks to lead the party who happens to have an affiliation. But
Doc, is it proper?
Because it pitches us already in a way against one group. And that one is not wrong.
Is it proper for... Yeah, and is it proper for you to...
We never said he's the cause.
No.
And we will never say it. But the affiliation cannot be discounted. Listen, you are a party that has huge deficits. You want groupings to show up. And what I mean by groupings, people who would tend to like the party and vote for the party. So we are just saying that, listen, though the party had issues, the governance bit had issues, the candidature also has to be looked at. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I can even almost stretch and say that, listen, at one point, one of your key strengths was economy, which also didn't play out. I mean,
we'll get it. Let's stay on this. Now, you agreed here that this conflict started way before him, right?
And you and I know.
No, let's hold it. Let's take it.
You and I know.
This conflict started way before him. I'm coming.
When you've agreed.
You've agreed that this conflict started way before him, right?
Oh, I have said it here.
So you've agreed that one.
Yes.
Now, you're also saying that because he belongs to one side, we cannot overlook it. That's what you're saying. That's what your side is saying.
As a serious party,
okay,
all of that has to come into consideration.
Now, if people say that people who are named Kissis, because mind you, he didn't choose where he has to be born to, right? I'm coming. You know that. You don't choose where you have to be born to. You're born into a family. You're born into a tribe. Now, if people say that people who are called Kissis are not good people and therefore must not be leaders, will you allude to that?
Let me help you even further. When you go to Ashanti region, your affiliation with Menchia can score you points in your election. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all have those things. Now, your affiliation too can go against you, depending on where you fall.
I can't help but agree.
Yes. So let's be just, if we're not truthful, we cannot solve our ills. And I think that this culture of always covering up truth it won't help. Let's be open the wound up, let it heal. And if we don't deal with this, and I think Dr. Bryan Acheampong said it carefully, that we have about 3 years to election. We need to see in our SWOT analysis the issues we can deal with now and the issues that will be presented to us at the tail end. Because these guys, listen, we're going up against these guys who can raise up, anything.
Did you do the math to see the total or the percentage of votes you may lose up north in that particular area?
Listen,
and would it be very significant?
Listen, we can do all of that, but listen, elections are no guarantees. So trust me.
You take every number at all.
In every election you go, you're looking at all the groupings. And what I say by that is that, your Beam Nation people, you're looking at your Shatter fans, every grouping matters. So that you are careful in your relationship with all the factions to ensure that you don't lose votes. And I think that for a party in deficit of 2 million plus votes, it is not wrong to look at every detail thing that may go against us.
Before we move on, what led to Bryan Acheampong dropping vote in his constituency?
Listen, if you're a very astute politician, the longer you stay, your votes will drop. It is a natural tendency. Now, let me also add that this is the election we spent so much and got so miserable in terms of results. Since the NPP started, let me put this on record, that I can almost ascertain that we've not spent as much in an election like we did in 2024.
Really?
I mean, I can, based on the population in this country, based on the cost of doing politics, I can only assume.
But that's for you for the NPP. But him, the vice president, the former vice president, the records are saying that he performed for the first time, for somebody who is contesting as president for the first time.
That is not the case.
For the NPP as a party.
Nobody has been vice president and contested.
No, not
except
for a
Ali
first
Mahama.
timer.
No, I'm just trying to help you in the analysis.
Okay.
Nobody has been in prominence for 16 years before contesting. Let's put that on record. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Kufuor was no vice president. Nana Addo was no vice president, was he? So listen, if you want to be...
You say that his performance as a first timer...
How do you measure him to somebody who has never been vice president? We should measure... We've never had a vice presidential MPP candidate go for election.
But
maybe we ought to wait until the next vice president also does, and then we can talk.
But I get it, but why not hold the parliamentary candidate whose performance also, helped for you to get to where you are, but you want to just go for him because he's a simple, simple target.
Please,
an easy target.
Listen to this. We got 80-something plus parliamentary seats. As for the presidential, we got 77. So if we even want to say that holding all things constant, I mean, then you'd ask yourself that our popularity in terms of presidential was far lower than our popularity in terms of the, parliamentary seats. Because it would have been a more potent thing if we had 100 presidential wins as opposed to the MPs that we got 87. Then I would say that, listen, we should give this man a chance. I hope you get how I'm coming from, because his popularity is bigger. And mind you, if you're a serious political party, the presidency lifts the members of parliament. It's not a reverse.
If Bryan was not in this contest, who else would you be supporting?
I prefer not to do the ifs and the buts. I mean, I'm a realist. So as it stands now, and let me say this, listen, it's a very painful decision people have to make for the party's interest. Very painful. And, Bryan says that he himself was strong Baumia, supported heavily financially, not just his strength, but heavily financially. But when the data came, and he realized that, wait a minute, these results are quite bad. I mean, not just quite bad, quite seriously bad. For any investor, when you finish with one business and you're looking at the next project, you go at zero and weigh everything. And that is what a good, objective person does. And then you check that, has the landscape changed? What caused this? And if that thing will not change, you might as well advise yourself. And yesterday I was listening to some podcast in the US, and they said that, listen, a lot of the people are untruthful about why they didn't vote. They'll give you an excuse, but they're untruthful. And as a political party, you need to be mindful of those untruthful things that you'll be told, which are not the reason why people did not vote for you. And when you go after those as creme de la creme, the holiest of holy reason why people did not vote for you, then you have to address it. And that is why we're presenting an alternative to Ghanaians. That, listen, some didn't like Ken for one or two reasons. Some also proffered why they didn't vote for us in the last election for one or two reasons related to the party, governance, and the candidate. And Dr. Bryan Acheampong says, listen, I'm presenting myself, one, to give the party a new image, and as it is, provide solutions to the needs of the Ghanaian people. I've been doing it. I have a track record, proven and profitable, and I can do it. To address one interesting thing, my mother once told me that even with rumors of John Dramani Mahama selling the ports, he has been made president again. And you'd rather have somebody who can use his acumen to better the lives of people than to have somebody who cannot. So the delegates have a very historic decision to make, very monumental.
But which of the men in there that cannot use his acumen to benefit the people?
No, it's a race. We always want better. Mm-hmm. It's a race. We always want better. And I think that a proven track record means that you've translated knowledge and ideas into something that generates profit. Mm-hmm. And that is my point here.
Mm-hmm. So between Bryan and Ken,
he prefers not to give a but.
Well, I mean, listen, mm-hmm. I said some key things here. Mm-hmm. Bryan's academics are good. His business too is good. So we have two in one. And that makes Bryan superior to Ken. And Bryan's track record in terms of business, though he's not disclosed for very good reasons because it was private, I stand to be corrected. For business-wise, Bryan is an industrialist more so than any of them. That one, it remains, anybody can make a different argument. But I want to tell Ghanaians that Bryan is an industrialist compared to any of the other four candidates. Nobody is more of an industrialist than Bryan. And when we say industrialist, we're not talking about just business. We're talking about industry.
You see how Vondi keeps smiling. He's taking the weapons you're giving him.
You're invited into this home now.
Yeah.
I mean, Vondi knows Bryan because of his fourth tenure in Parliament. So the political experience too is there. And Vondi and I know that the parliamentary experience is very crucial. And let me also add that for MPP, if we're a very serious-minded party, getting our seats back should be our preoccupation. Then we can get presidency. And of all the five candidates, the one person that Vondi and I know can help MPP get our seats back is Dr. Bryan Acheampong. And that is also very crucial.
I'm sure I've been invited to the conversation.
No, yes. Invited to your home.
I intentionally brought you in.
I've been invited to the conversation. You see, Bryan. First of all, I think that my brother Bryan is doing so well in his business and, of course, as a lawmaker in Parliament, a member of Parliament. I thought that he was going to concentrate on that. The NPP is not going to win election 2028. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's just about it. Again, as a young man, Bryan, if he feels that he wants to be in a race maybe for the next 30 years, he wants to be part of it, want to be seen contesting, presidential race and all that. I mean, that's fine for him. Some people, they have so many reasons they do contest elections. And if Bryan feels that it will help his business, exposure, if you like, this will add to his CV. I mean, he's contested an election to be president before in his party and all that. It speaks so volume, for him internationally. So for me, Bryan being in the race, I thought that he could concentrate on his business, but that's his own choice. And again, I don't really want to go into whether or not he's going to win or not. He's not going to win, whether he's going to be a good president or not. Well, I'm not sure I want to be part of talking detailed about the NPP, issues. I mean, the NPP, they know themselves and they know whom they want to choose. But I am more concerned about the way they structured their, electoral process. I don't know, they named something they call top-bottom approach, right? With the greatest of respect, that is not even a top-bottom approach. When you look at the charts, the hierarchy of representation of political parties, okay, leadership, okay, the flag bearer is not part of that. Now, you have the grassroots that you want to call the branch executives, elections done, then you move to the constituencies to have your constituency executives, then you elect them. Then you go to the region to have your regional executive elected. Then you move to the national executive to elect your national executives, then, which of course includes the national chairman. That ends the political, leadership and party structure leadership. The flag bearer has no position within that chart. The flag bearer is an individual, if you like, that will be selected after the structure of the party is being formed. Then you go look for somebody to come and contest an external election that other political parties have representation and people will contest as well. So within that political structure, that structure, you have no position, place for a flag bearer. Now the NPP say they want to do top-bottom approach. If that's what they want to do, then you should go electing your national chairman first. Then you're doing top-bottom, because the person you are electing, the position you are electing, has no place within the political structure. So in any case, you're already a confused party. So you shouldn't be talked about at all. For me, you shouldn't be talked about. Now all of them are cooking all these things because they want to do it for one person. The former vice president, that's why they're doing all these things. They want to cook it for him. And we are happy about that. We are really happy.
They're cooking what? For who?
I mean, they are cooking it for him.
The top-bottom approach.
No. It's not a top-bottom approach. This is a confused
that's
strategy.
what they say, so we stick to that.
I'm saying that.
They're not. Is that not what you say?
All they're doing, they are so confused. They know if they go through the structure.
Confusion.
They know if they go through the structure properly, Bawumia wouldn't win. And so they would have to do all these things because they want Bawumia to win.
But mustn't that be good news for you?
And that's why I'm happy. I mean, so, hold on. I mean, so, the fact that I'm happy doesn't mean I shouldn't say it. I'm happy. They should go ahead. Bryan wouldn't get the nod because they aren't doing the right thing. If they do the right thing, because I tell you what, today, if you pick their register that they're going to use to vote, to have this election, there are a lot of people with the greatest respect that might have died. So we'd have to do elections to get people who are incapacitated, people who have traveled, and the register is not credible as we speak to you. Now, do you know what they're doing? You got some people who are writing some names trying to, because there was no elections. From the bottom to the top, to have a credible register to do that election. That is how credible, responsible party happened. That's how they behave. Unfortunately, all they're doing is that, okay, so we got some delegates who voted for the vice president a few months ago to run into the 2024 election, so let's use the same people to vote for him again. And that's what they're doing. So they're so confused. The party is so in disarray. And these are people who are coming together to just try to monopolize the power that they feel that they are the people who the party belongs to. And
did I hear you say that if they did things right, Bryan could win?
I'm saying if they did things right,
Bryan could
any other candidate could win.
Okay.
Bryan could win, Acheampong could win. Do you know we have 2 Acheampong?
There are 2 yeah.
Any of them could win. But you know, for example, Kwabena Acheampong, for example, the more he sounds loud, the more he's so quiet in this party. He's not being heard in this party. That's a very nice gentleman whose track record in politics is so nice. Somebody who is, been seen as President Kufuor's boy, and so they're trying to sideline all of them. That's the NPP strategy. And this is a very nice gentleman. Look at the reason that the one who didn't contest, Adomako or something, gave monetization of the party's structure and all that. I'm sure Bryan is so rich, like you say. I mean, he can contest whatever, money they want to take, man. So that's how the NPP...
industrialist.
That's how the NPP is being formed. So confused, at a very confused party, doing everything to make sure Bawumia wins, and we are happy. I mean, bring it on. They should bring it on.
Find the structuring.
That's the point.
We keep demanding that we get fair play. Granted, admittedly, there's a good number of people in the higher hierarchies who would like the status quo. But that is politics. You always go up against the grain. You always go up against the Goliath. And some of us are very determined. To change the status quo. Yeah.
How determined are you? What are you trying to change?
Listen, like I told you earlier that, this is sports. And like any game, when you go and you don't get a trophy, some people will ask for the captain to be changed. And we also know that there's evidence of a change in the captain helping teams win matches. And that one, I'm not here to try and tell you the number of Chelsea matches they didn't win until somebody came. You understand? Coach and captain makes a whole difference. So like us, we think that granted the party has issues, we are very firm in our mind that should we change the captain, in this case, the person that leads the party, we are assured of a far better chance of winning 2028. That is our thinking. Now, a party so big like the NPP should not have trouble having some people think that way, just like any sports fraternity.
Okay.
And we are making a strong case to the delegates that we are very...
You have to change the leader.
...hopeful that with that change, the narrative of the party changes, the likability increases, and for that matter, when you're at the helm of affairs for 16 years, people get tired of you. That is also another thing. And we
were you not part of the system when he said that Fasti Anemami, because he was part, but
he was giving a steering. You remember that? When he went to Swan magazine, then they prepared some nice steering, and they gave to him. They gave him the steering.
I thought the message was that he didn't have the power.
You guys are joking, man.
Have the power.
There used to be a culture in
I'm sorry.
That president and vice, you go away for a new chapter.
Okay.
And I think that tradition should be still considered. We feel strongly that
there's a culture.
Kufuor's time, Nanado said it frankly that Kufuor and his team should go Mokwai Animoko Abba. And there are a lot of people in the NPP, and the rank and file needs this change. It helps. Change is good, but it is never accepted by those who are in authority. That is the norm. But change certainly is good.
Okay. There's a story, but we are wrapping up, but there's a story on the page 3 of the news center. Government to revoke LI 2462 to ban mining in forest reserves. I mean, you've gotten what you were calling for. Everybody said,
well, I've always been environmentally conservative in my thinking. I was also vice chairman of Environment, Science and Tech Committee, and I strongly support this revocation. We need to think of that chamber, and I really think that these were some of the decisions that were unfavorable under the NPP administration. So this one, myself and the entire world is in support of this.
Okay. All right. Ondi, your concern is suffering from mine, Galamsey, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good thing. And I look forward for that revocation bill, that process to begin, and we'll all help to ensure that we take that out of our books. And not only that, try to ban importation of some equipment that are used in this illegal trade. So one of those equipment that I've talked about millions times is what we call chamfang. There is that machine called chamfang.
Yeah.
I said million times that I am within the environment where these illegalities do happen. Mm. You see, they build a structure, okay, and they put the engine on it to dredge the water. If the engine is not on the structure they build, the structure is useless. This engine is imported from China. Mm. So stop bringing the engine, and there will be no dredging in the river bodies. Mm. Is this one difficult to do?
It's very difficult for the politically inclined.
The chamfangs are sometimes actually mostly locally produced.
No.
They say
the engine chamfang itself.
The engine itself.
It's always brought in from China.
Then the body is.
It is the structure, the body, the other things that.
Even that they also import.
Okay.
Yes. So that engine is the only thing that capacitates the structure they build.
Okay.
So if the engine is not there, that structure will not work.
You are making sense, but not just political sense.
No, I'm not making political sense.
No, I'm saying that you are making sense, but it's not political sense.
No,
you understand what I'm talking about?
I agree with you. It must not be political sense.
Okay.
It can't. It cannot be political sense. If you want to make political sense in these things, then this trade will continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we must leave politics and make sense, but not political sense in these issues. Stop importation.
We should vote to the best tomorrow.
I mean, stop the importation, of the engine, and then the river bodies will be free from being dredged and being polluted, and that's all about it. And then, I mean, we can move on. Acheampong, we're winning the election, and that should not be more than 54%.
Well, I have some comment here for him. This one says, good morning, Sammy. Please, the assertion by the MP for Acheampong that the people of Acheampong should vote for the NDC candidate because he will bring development due to his government being in power is a flawed one. This is because the over 188 NDC MPs, of which the MP for Jomoro is included, have nothing to show in their various constituencies. All MPs are entitled to the same common fund. So I disregard that perception. The people of Acheampong should vote for NDC candidate in order for him to bring development. If that is the case, we should have won the Asin North by-election because NPP was in power. Francis Tando, Assistant Secretary for Jomoro, NPP, but he explained that. Yes,
and this is not a comment to be responded to.
No.
You keep quiet on it and we'll say thank you for joining us.
This one says, why Bryan Acheampong publicly supported Dr. Bawumia, his allegiance was not as unwavering as Dr. Kissi suggests. Notably, both Dr. Kissi and I were supporters of Alan's campaign, with myself serving as the Western Regional Coordinator. It appears that Bryan Acheampong covertly backed Alan's bid and strategically endorsed Dr. Bawumia following Alan's resignation. On Kufuor's second attempt in 1998 to lead the NPP ahead of the 2000 elections, his own brother-in-law, J.H. Mensah, described him as a rotten cassava, yet he beat them all. Dr. Bawumia's candidature stands out due to his remarkable ability to connect with a broad audience and his impressive personal qualities. His intelligence, tenacity, and humility, coupled with his dedication to party cohesion, demonstrate his capacity for effective leadership. I am convinced of his ability to lead the NPP. Professor E. Bruce Amate, you know him. He's in TTU.
He's entitled
to his opinion. All right, that's it.
Well, thank you for joining us on News Review today. There's more on the show. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you as well. You have a very sinister mind. You this man.